I mean, it's easier than ever to watch a movie from the comfort of your own home nowadays, but there's something beautiful about watching a movie in a theater. It's the smell of buttery popcorn. It's the feel of sticky feet on the floors. It's feeling the palpable energy of sitting in a room full of strangers in eager anticipation of the preview's ending and the main feature beginning. There's something about being in a theater that invites you into the story. And that, after all, is what it's all about. The story. In any story that's ever been told, before the popcorn was popped, before the floors became sticky, before theaters even existed, stories have always had the same basic structure. There's a protagonist. The protagonist has an objective. There's a conflict that pulls the protagonist away from the objective. And finally, there's resolution. There's this remarkable occurrence in Luke chapter 24. On the same day that Peter discovers Jesus' empty tomb, these two guys are walking on the road to Emmaus, and they're arguing because they're confused about recent events. And the risen Christ meets them on the road at that time, and they don't even recognize him because they're so busy arguing. But Jesus retells or recasts the story for them in an entirely different way. And Scripture says, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, Jesus interprets to them all things in Scripture that have to do with himself. This story, he tells them, has existed from the foundations of the earth. Now, if this story is about Christ and he is the protagonist, once we're together with Christ, it is also our story to tell. It's like this story going on all around us, and we have a chapter in it. Whether we realize it or not, our lives are chapters being written. The difference between a good story and a bad story lies in the person or persons in the protagonist role. A story is good if the protagonist moves ahead valiantly, no matter the cost, towards the objective, fighting and surviving any conflict until finally there's resolution. In the story of God, we know whose side we're on, and we know what the objective is. And even though there's bound to be conflict, we have the promise of the most perfect and satisfying resolution of any story ever told. So let me ask you this. How will you grow into your role? How will your chapter read?